Welcome to the 2018-19 and 19-20 annual report for the Department of Housing and Community Development's Rent Adjustment Program. It's 2021 and we're still in the middle of a pandemic. A deadly situation that reminds us of the value of community and forces us to recognize that we're all in this together. Let's begin with a discussion on the purpose and mission of the Rent Adjustment Program. The mission of the Rent Adjustment Program is to promote community stability, healthy housing, and diversity for Oakland's residents while preventing illegal rent increases and evictions and ensuring a fair return for property owners. Community stability and diversity are supported by housing stability, safe and healthy housing, affordability, and the promise of a fair return for property owners. Excessive rent increases can have a devastating effect not only on the individual but also on the entire community. They force thousands of Oakland residents to choose between spending over half their income on rent, foregoing other necessities, or moving far away from jobs and community ties. For many, none of these choices are viable, and homelessness often becomes the only option. The COVID-19 crisis has not only exacerbated this problem, but has made clear the need for a strong protective framework. As such, rent control and rent control agencies are necessary components of anti-displacement policy. During this 2-year reporting period, RAP has transitioned from a passive enforcement program to an active enforcement model of rent regulation. Active enforcement is key to effectuating the purpose of the ordinance and has 3 key components: community education, dispute resolution and mediation services, rent registration, and eviction tracking. Community education. Outreach and education are crucial components to actively enforcing the rent ordinance and eviction protections. Both tenants and property owners must first understand their rights and responsibilities in order to have access to the protections afforded under the law. It is well established that Black Americans, Indigenous, Latinx, and communities where English is a second language are disproportionately affected by the housing crisis. Recognizing this reality, RAP has dramatically expanded its community education efforts and applied an equity approach to target the most vulnerable in our city. During this 2-year reporting period, RAP staff conducted more workshops than have been conducted in the last several fiscal years combined. The number of community events where RAP staffed and provided on-site housing counseling increased by 80% in the fiscal year 2018-19. RAP staff was scheduled to attend a larger number of community outreach events in fiscal year 2019-20. However, due to the COVID pandemic, 5 events were canceled. RAP staff participated in outreach events in diverse neighborhoods across the city of Oakland. Staff performed on-site housing counseling at community festivals, including Art and Soul, the Juneteenth celebration, the Chinatown Street Festival, Rockridge Out and About, Oktoberfest, and the Dia de los Muertos celebration in Fruitvale. The Rent Adjustment Program provides holistic, non-advocacy housing counseling, helping both property owners and tenants navigate landlord-tenant issues and connecting them to additional resources when necessary. At the beginning of fiscal year 2018-19, RAP was open to the public only 12 hours a week. Since then, the hours have more than doubled. RAP is now open for drop-in counseling for a total of 31 hours a week, which since shelter-in-place is being conducted remotely through phone and email communication. As the number of hours and community presence increased, the number of tenants and property owners seeking housing counseling increased as well. During fiscal year 2018-19, the average number of counseling sessions was 262 per month. In fiscal year 2019-20, this number almost doubled to an average of 421 counseling sessions per month. During fiscal years 2018-19 and 2019-20, RAP created 16 new information sheets on topics such as security deposits, rent control, the emergency moratorium, and eviction protections. Information sheets are translated into Spanish and Chinese and are available on the RAP website. In 2019, staff also published the Guide to Oakland Rental Housing Law, which is a comprehensive overview of local and state laws. The guide is available in Spanish, English, and Chinese. In August 2019, staff created an informational postcard about the changes in the law affecting owner-occupied duplexes and triplexes. This postcard, which outlined owners' new rights and responsibilities, was sent to over 8,000 households. A second postcard about the emergency eviction moratorium ordinance was sent to roughly 30,000 residents. The Rent Adjustment Program's petition process is the second component to active enforcement. Through the petition process, tenants can compel property owners to make necessary repairs by petitioning to the rent board to decrease their rent until the habitability problems are corrected. And property owners can petition for rent increases to offset increased maintenance costs and capital improvements. Now let's turn to hearings process improvements during fiscal year 2018-19 and 2019-20. During this reporting period, the backlog of petitions waiting to be processed has been eliminated. The backlog of appeals cases waiting to be adjudicated by the board has been eliminated. In July 2018, there were 96 pending appeals. Today, there are none. And finally, RAP has implemented internal efficiencies to reduce the time residents must wait to have their appeal hearings scheduled. In 2018, parties were waiting up to 5 months for a hearing date. Today, appeals hearings are scheduled within 30 days of filing. The third component to active enforcement is rent registration and eviction tracking. Currently, Oakland does not require rent registration. However, in April 2019, RAP engaged the Fuse Fellowship Program to explore the implementation of a rent registry, which will enhance enforcement, prevent illegal rent increases, and help remove the incentive for false owner move-in evictions. In fiscal year 2018-19, 6,714 eviction notices were filed with the rent program. In fiscal year 2019-20, 4,696 notices were filed. This decrease was likely the result of the eviction moratorium adopted at the beginning of the pandemic. Approximately 91% of all notices filed with RAP were for non-payment of rent. 4.13% were for breach of lease or nuisance, and 2.16% were for no-fault evictions, which includes owner move-in evictions, Ellis Act evictions, and evictions for necessary repairs. For all no-fault evictions, RAP sends a Know Your Rights packet to tenants so that they are informed of their right to relocation and have information on how to access legal services if necessary. Finally, let's look at the Rent Adjustment Program's financial status for the fiscal years 2018-19 and 2019-20. There was a 16.38% increase in revenue in fiscal year 2019-20, which reflects the increase of the RAP fee approved by Council in April 2019. The increased expenditures relate to the increase in staff that was deemed necessary by the City Council when adopting the fee increase. The increased staff capacity, along with the outreach activities described in this agenda report, have been fundamental to the success that RAP has achieved in improving program processes, transparency, public outreach and education, and compliance.
We're impressed that the hearing officers and support staff and executive staff do their jobs, we think, fairly and objectively, and they treat everybody that comes before the agency with respect.
I've been so impressed with the Rent Adjustment Program and how with such lean staff has worked to implement much-needed new laws, while also tirelessly responding to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hi, my name is Korean Todd. I work for the City of Oakland Rent Adjustment Program, also known as RAP. I was born and raised in Oakland, so working for the city that I love and helping my community understand the housing laws, I believe I'm making a difference. We all know that knowledge is power, so helping property owners and tenants understand their rights makes Oakland a better place to live. If you have any questions or concerns, please give us a call. Thanks.